Alrighty. Feels super awkward, but I'm just gonna go for it.
Hi everyone, I'm Lacey Taylor. I'm 22 years old, and this is my beautiful exchange.
Hello, my name's Danny Bonaventura. I'm 27 years old, and this is my beautiful exchange.
Hi, my name's Jonathan Hucko. I'm 24 years old, and this is my beautiful exchange.
My name is Albert St. Cyr, and this is my beautiful exchange.
Hello, my name is Kaylin. I'm 20 years old, and this is my beautiful exchange. Around 2 years ago, I was struggling with depression. I was suicidal, and it was continually getting worse.
I was completely sold out to the kingdom of darkness, and there was no changing my mind. You could not change me. You couldn't convince me that there was something greater. I loved the highs that I got in the world, the relationships. I fed off everything, and I thought that that's what I needed.
I didn't have a very good childhood. I didn't receive the love that was given to me in a very good way. I know that I was loved by both of my parents in their own way, but the love that I needed wasn't there. I needed a lot more fatherly love than what I got, and that turned me away from the church.
I started getting into things that I shouldn't be getting into. I started drinking when I was in the military. I started smoking cigarettes. I started smoking weed. After that, I got out the military. I slowed down a little, but I didn't realize that it was going to progress as time went on. Over the years, it progressed, and I started using crack cocaine a lot, smoking. I've always wanted to please people and have fun with people and just enjoy life. At the time, I didn't know I was lost.
I'm Clifton Garrett. I'm 26. Growing up, I did live in a Christian home, but we weren't always in church. We didn't really do church. I knew who God was, but I didn't know who He really was.
I was born and raised as a Catholic, and I come from an Italian-American family, so it's all Catholicism. I definitely have a respect for Catholicism, but I knew that there was a gap for my life, and when I got to college, I figured out what that was. I had a teammate named Marvin, really awesome guy, and he was invested in me, and he told me that he wanted me to attend his Bible study. So every week he was joking with me, hey Bonnie, you gotta make sure you're at my Bible study. And sure enough, when school started up, I started attending every week. And when I started going, it was a new experience for me. It was definitely some things I wasn't used to. I felt a presence over me, and it felt like something that I had been looking for my entire life that void was being filled now.
And around that time, I was actually at a party where I got so drunk, I was incoherent, I wanted to drive home, and my friends actually wouldn't let me. So I called a friend, and she picked me up from the party. We knew that I wasn't okay, and I finally admitted that to people. And I finally, in my mind, was trying to figure out what I could do to get out of my depression. At the time, I was not living as a Christian. I would actually have considered myself an atheist. I did not believe in God. I thought people that believed in God were silly. I would have made fun of them. They were like the butt of my jokes. I thought I was too intelligent, too smart, to believe into essentially a person in the sky.
But then in that moment, I realized that I was just trying to fulfill what I really needed, which was Jesus, with everything else in the world, every relationship, any kind of drug, just whatever there is. That's what I was trying to find my fulfillment in. But then when he came to me and said, Lacey, I can beautify your life, that's when I was like, it was like I could just breathe. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is what I've been looking for. Not everything that I was deceived into thinking that I needed, but it was the one thing, Jesus.
I remember the time when I used to take my mother's car, my father's car, my sister, my best friend's car, even my car, and rent it out to drug dealers just so I can have cocaine. And in the midst of it all, I was always thinking about God, asking God to deliver me. It wasn't until I went to jail in Austin, Texas. While I was in jail, I was still praying and asking God to deliver me. It wasn't until I totally surrendered and gave my life to God that God freed me from drugs and alcohol. I've been clean now over 16 years now.
And it took my mom asking me to be a part of the softball team at a church in Orange. I thought she was out of her mind. I was like, softball is for girls, Mom. I've played baseball all my life. Like, that's not gonna happen. I went, I gave it a try because I love my mom and I wanted to honor her and respect her wishes for me. So I went and did that, and I actually ended up finding the love that I had been looking for. There were some older men there that really just spoke into me and spoke God's love over me day after day. Every time that I would go up there, they were always encouraging me. They were there at the events that I wanted them to be at. Like, they would come show up at random things that I was doing just to show me love, just to show me that they cared, and they didn't even know me.
And at the time, I was looking around at other people, trying to figure out what they had that brought them joy, what made them so free and peaceful that I didn't have. And I noticed that a lot of these people were Christians. So I decided from that moment on that even though I was not a Christian and that I didn't believe in it, I thought it was foolish, I wanted to get out of my depression that badly that I started going to church. And that's around the same time that people started inviting me to church. I started meeting people that were involved in church. They were like, come see us, like, we're not judgmental, we know what you've been through, and we just want to love you the way that God loves you.
In 2013, I was in a horrible, horrible relationship. We were living together, and God was waking me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. He was just talking to me like, hey, you gotta let go, remember, let go. 3 months straight. It got to a point where I was just sick of it. I was like, God, like, look, I love her, I want her to be part of this, and I'm gonna pull her with me. And he's like, no, if you want to be with me, you gotta drop all this, pick up your cross and walk with me.
And in October of that year, I decided to commit my life to Christ. And ever since I did that, I've felt a change in my life. I feel like I've become a better man. I feel like the core values and biblical principles that are taught to me through being a follower of Christ are something that I can use in relationships with my brothers, my parents, my girlfriend, who is also a follower of Christ. And I know that I wouldn't have found her without having Christ in my life. I'm very thankful for where Christ has taken my life, but I also am really thankful for the opportunities that I've had to lean on Him when things haven't gone right, whether it be through personal loss or difficulties at work, and how I deal with that on a regular basis. I feel like if I stay in the Word and I continue to build my relationship with Christ, He's going to help me through any situation I may encounter.
And even in my day-to-day life, I've seen the way He's changed it by filling the void in my heart with love and joy and peace instead of alcohol, impurity, pain. It's not always easy. It's really not. But instead of turning to the things that I used to turn to fill the sadness or the occasional pain that can sometimes happen in life, I've turned to His joy and His peace and His promise for me. And overall, I'm just so grateful for His love and His joy and the things that He has replaced and filled in my heart.
So that's what drew me back into God, and that's the love that I know now that it's never going to change. It's not going to push me, like anything that anybody does to me is not going to push me away from God, because I know I'm loved, and that's something that I've always needed, something that I still continue to need, and I feel like that's the thing that God has given me that I need to give back to others. I feel like another thing that keeps me coming back to God is just the time that I have with Him in worship. And sometimes, like, I feel like the enemy tries to attack me and tell me that I have like ADD or ADHD or something. I feel like God just shuts that down. And it's like I was saying earlier with like that father-son relationship. It just all goes back to that for me. That's the main thing that I've been seeking for, the main thing that I want. And I think that's what everybody in this world longs for. Just that fatherly love that so many of us miss out on. And in worship, I just get that. I get that sense that He's just like wrapping His arms around me, hugging me, loving on me. That He's singing the words back over me, which is huge. A lot of people don't think that way. A lot of people don't think that God sings those songs over us, that He worships over us, but He wouldn't have created something that He didn't love and adore and admonish and want to sing over, and He wouldn't have created song if He didn't sing Himself. And so I need to keep writing songs. I need to keep reminding myself that I need to get back into worship. I hope this just gives somebody hope that just because you've turned away from something, that doesn't mean that God won't bring you right back into it more full, more better than the last time.
Another place that Christ has had a tremendous influence on me is through my career. And when I was a student athlete, I saw a lot of my teammates that went through struggles, and I wanted to find a career where I could give back and work with those student athletes and make sure that they live successful lives after they graduated and make sure they reach graduation. And God has taken me from Pittsburgh to San Antonio to New Orleans and now to Beaumont, Texas, on that journey to find a meaningful career and find a career where I was able to use Christ-like principles and invest in people on a daily basis. And I feel so thankful to be here in Beaumont and so thankful to be here a part of Trinity.
And what made me find God is I just got sick and tired of being a people pleaser. That's what I was, a people pleaser. But I understand now there's a God of my understanding that loves me and cares for me.
I'll never forget the moment when Jesus confidently told me that he could beautify my life. I thought it was kind of a funny concept because of where I was at in the moment that he told me. I was just broken, hurt, abandoned, lost, just literally like he found me in the midst of my crying and just puddles of tears and told me that he would beautify my life. Not only that he could, but that he would. He made a promise to me. For God to come find me in the darkest of darkest places, the lowest of lowest places, and be willing to get in my life with me and not stand at afar and say, oh, you got this, but instead come alongside of me, take my hand and say, together we got this.
June 4th, 2014, I rededicated myself to the Lord through a water baptism. I just put all that anger and bad relationship and behind me and just dropped everything and started just following Christ. And I haven't turned back since.
Through my relationship with God and through my relationship with other people that have brought me closer to God, he has exchanged my sorrow for joy and gave me passion and love and something that I never felt before.
There's no drug, no person, no substance, no anything that compared to the life that I have found in Jesus. There's no greater joy, there's no greater funness, just excitement about life than I have found living with Jesus. Even in these short 5 years of living with him, I would never trade it. I would never go back to where I came from because I know what he's brought me into is greater than anything that I have left behind me. This is living. This truly is the definition of living, Jesus. He came to give us life, eternal life, which is to know him. And he is my one thing. And my deepest desire now is to know him.
And I guess that's why it's a beautiful exchange, because what he gives to us, we're supposed to keep giving back out. It's not something we're supposed to just hold on to. And it's like, am I supposed to keep going? What do I say now?